Hello there, everyone. It's Adam. Welcome to the ICPL. We are finally back with another season of this draft league. If you remember last season, we unfortunately lost in the semifinals to Coach Cherry, and we just got absolutely obliterated by that man's super-powered team. Free Terra Chinpao, Free Terra Gallade, Iron Moth. Like, he had so many threats, and the worst thing is he came back with another underpriced Terra Pokemon. So yeah, that really makes matters worse for me. But we are we've returned, and this time I think I have the steal. So if you're unaware, the ICPL Draft League is a Wi-Fi draft league, which means all the battles take place in game and not on Pokemon Showdown. So coaches actually have to obtain their teams in game themselves, unless if they have someone like generate the Pokemon for them. I have the means to do that, but I don't really feel comfortable doing it. It doesn't really sit well with me to gen, but I still have access to pretty much limitless resources, and I use that to obtain my teams instead. But honestly, my team isn't going to be that bad to obtain this season, so let's just jump into this team. You can see my new team logo in the bottom right corner. We have the crazy Torracat size. If you follow the YouTube channel Yell's Marble Runs, you will you will know that the team, the Crazy Cat's Eyes, won the Marble League Championship, and that's my favorite team in the Marble League. So I made a bet with one of my friends that if they won the Marble League, I would revive this franchise. This franchise was previously seen in Season 1 of the Crown's Tundra Draft League back in 2021, I think, which I ended up winning that season. So we're gonna see if we can keep this 100% win rate up. But that's pretty much all the hype or whatever that I want to give for this season. So going into the draft, there's like a really, really long wait. There's like a week wait between like the draft order releasing and the draft starting, so I had plenty of time to stress and ruminate about my decision. And ultimately, I really wanted to use Iron Valiant, but I wasn't going to be too stressed if like stuff like Shaman Sky or frick Dragapult made it back to me instead. But ultimately, I ended up managing to get Iron Valiant. So Iron Valiant is a fairy fighting type, good 116 speed tier, and excellent breaking capabilities with physical attack or special attack. It has nice support with Encore and Disable, and I think it gets Destiny Bond too. Like, it has good support aside from its offenses. So that is super duper unique for Iron Valiant, and like I said, it has a good variety of physical and special coverage. Its ability Quark Drive heightens or raises like one of its stats or its most proficient stat whenever electric drains up or whenever it has a booster energy. People commonly use Iron Valiant on ladder with booster energy speed, but this is Draft League. Booster Energy Speed is an option, but we have so many more options because of Iron Valiant's like good utility with Encore, Disable, Swords Dance, Calm Mind, being able to use like reliably use any of the choice items, and then there's so many more items that work well with it. I'm super duper excited to finally get to use this Pokemon. Like I said, this has always been one of the Pokemon that I've wanted to try out, but Screamtail always ends up being my fairy because it fills a very similar speed tier and it fills the fairy type. So I had a long way to wait for this pick, and ultimately I had to go with a comfort mon or two just to like get my familiarity with this team under my foot. So next up, I know I wanted to kind of secure my hazard game, hazard clearing and a hazard setting. So for hazard setting, I picked up Meowscarada. Meowscarada hits a nice 123 base speed tier. It's one of my favorite Pokemon to use in Gen 9 Draft Leagues now, primarily due to its ability to set spikes and toxic spikes, being able to use knockoff, U-turn for pivoting. It has trick and taunt for disruption, but the main bread and butter move that it has, thanks to DLC 2, is triple axle. So that means it can now hit stuff like Gliscor and Landorus super effectively. And there's pretty much no switch into this thing now, which is amazing. And it gets same type attack boost from triple axle due to its protein ability. And yeah, add that in with like play rough, low kick, stuff like that. It is pretty fearsome as a wall breaker now, especially with choice band. It is, I mean, well, it's my favorite starter right now, but yeah, I'm at a loss for words. I just see triple axle and it's just good. So super duper excited to use Masquerada again. I have a really nice speed tier going, and I decided to pick up another comfort mon being Corviknight. So Corviknight, very bulky Pokemon with steel flying type, very nice defensive typing there for otherwise unimpressive stats to be honest. But it is this since this is a Wi-Fi draft league, that means it's a Paldea Dex draft league. And Paldea Dex really nuked the amount of viable defog users. This thing is a slow pivot with a very good typing, obviously, but being able to use defog really just sets this thing apart. It also gets access to, I think, like taunt, iron defense body press if it wants to run that set, bulk up with power trip, agility. Its setup sets are very niche, but what the one trick that this thing has is very useful for this team and just for really any team whatsoever. Being able to use defog is like pretty much worth it alone. Um, and then, well, obviously you have the slow U-turn to get in Meowscarada and Iron Valiant. Meowscarada also has U-turn to get in Valiant too, so you can see we're building up pivots. So oftentimes with Corviknight, I like to pair it up with a bulky water and a bulky ground. That forms like a really nice defensive core for me. And I think we're about to get jumped by a cat. I'm recording this in my car, and sometimes the cats love to. They just love to have a peek wherever they can. So, yeah. But I really like getting a bulky ground and a bulky water. So to fill the ground, I initially got Ursaluna Blood Moon, but after the draft, I dropped it for Mamoswine. The reason being, Ursaluna Blood Moon just was not working for me, and I needed something physical to just kind of help the team out. But also, Blood Moons was a bit expensive. I was initially eyeing Garchomp for this slot, but Garchomp got sniped like 3 picks before me and really kind of messed my planning up. I have a cat in my face now. Well, not really, it's on the windshield, but yeah. I'll send a picture in the ICPL chat of our special guest for today. But, so, back to Mamoswine, it has a very powerful base 130 attack, really good bulk with 110 HP, 80 defense, and being a really infamous user of the Assault Vest thanks to Lord Envy. It has base 60 SPDF, but with Assault Vest, do not discount this Pokemon. Like, it is really good. It has access to Stealth Rock and Knockoff, and like it can hit pretty much everything super effectively, or just like or neutrally or super effectively. It gets Ice Shard for priority, Earthquake, and then a bunch of Ice Stabs to like really hit hard. And then you get obviously Knockoff to remove items, and I'm trying to think. That might be about it, but you really don't need much else because Ground Ice hits pretty much everything. And Obviously, it has the thick fat ability being able to tank fire moves and ice moves that much better. So, Mamoswine, really, really good. Next up, I got Vaporeon. Vaporeon is quickly becoming one of my more favorite Wish Passers. It used to be Screamtail, but now it's Vaporeon. Base 130 HP, meaning these wishes are going to be substantial as they use Vaporeon's HP stat to calculate how much HP is going to be recovered. So if I go into like Iron Valiant, I pretty much get a full heal for free. This thing gets Flip Turn to act as a slow pivot, and with a Water Absorb ability, it becomes immune to, well, water type moves. It has solid bulk with 130 HP, 60 defense, which isn't ideal, but I have a physical wall with Corviknight, and don't don't underestimate the ability of physically or investing EVs into physical defense. It gets Scald, being being one of the few Pokemon that can actually use Scald. It can, which Scald can do damage and then have a chance to burn the opposing Pokemon, making its Fizz Def even that much more substantial. It gets Haze to stop setup sweepers dead in their tracks. And it got Alluring Voice this gen, which is a fun move. It has a 100% confuse rate if the target has boosted a stat this turn, so it is a bit more deterrent to set up, or it can like just stop like a dragon type move or dragon type if it doesn't want to use like Ice Beam. So yeah. So and obviously it has access to Wish to keep the whole team healthy, which is pretty much why I drafted it. I wanted to draft it in tandem with Mamoswine to just keep that healthy since Corviknight already has Roost. If I can just keep my defensive backbone healthy, I think I'll have a good chance. And I drafted this for a reason you'll see later, but we'll get to that in a minute. First, so next up, we have our first Terra Captain being Jolteon. In this league, we could have 2 to 3 Terra Captains that totaled 16 points. And Jolteon was 9 points, so I had to have a couple more low tier Terra Captains, but we'll get to that in a minute. So, first up, we have Jolteon with the Electric, which we have to have a stab type, Ice to hit ground types, and then Fairy for a good, like, all-around type. It has Volt Absorb and Quick Feet, two abilities that I'm pretty sure that I will use this league. Quick Feed can be used with Flame Orb to pretty much outpace anything, and then you have Volt Absorb to absorb electric type moves. It's super duper fast, being able to outpace pretty much everything in the game. And then you get that 110 base special attack stat to just break, or to try to break open most things. So, that's Jolteon. It's pretty one note. It gets electric moves, it gets Alluring Voice, and it gets Terra Blast. So, yeah, Jolteon's pretty one note, but yeah. But I'm super duper excited for this next pick. This is what I think is the steal of the draft. I helped make this tier list somewhat. I feel partially responsible for this, but I'm surprised no one caught me. This is a Pokemon that's usually like 13 points, but we had this thing, Terapagos, at 11. We had Terapagos at 11 points. Base 95 HP, 110 in both defenses. This thing is massively bulky with the ability Terra Shell. Terra Shell acts as like a better multi-scale ability. Whenever Terapagos is at full health, it halves the effectiveness of moves. So like, if you go for a fighting move, it'll flip the top matchup so it's not very effective. So it'll go from 2 times effectiveness to 0.5 times. This thing is absolutely crazy. It gets Rapid Spin and Stealth Rock for hazard control and hazard setting, and obviously insane bulk. One thing that I didn't mention on this slide is it has insane coverage too. aside from the Terra Starstorm move, which is a 120 base power normal type special move, coming off of a 105 base special attack stat, it gets it gets top coverage out the wazoo. It gets like Ice Beam, Earth Power, Bug Buzz. I think it gets Psychic and Shadow Ball. I think it might get Aura Sphere too. Like it gets coverage for days. And man, I'm so excited to use this thing. Base 85 speed is pretty unremarkable, but this thing is this thing is pretty much what I look for in a draft week, and with Vaporeon, I can keep this thing healthy to keep coming in and like keep renewing its Terra Shell ability. So using this in tandem with Vaporeon is going to be one of my favorite things to do this season. But you can see we still have 4 Pokemon left, and although the team was pretty good, we need a bit more. So I decided to pick up another high speed tier, try to fill in my 100 since I didn't get Garchomp, which really, that Garchomp snipe threw my plan off so much. But I think we managed pretty well. We got Monkey Dory. Monkey Dory is one of the loyal 3 in the DLC 1, a bunch of poison type legendary Pokemon. We got probably what I think is the best one. So it has a base 130 special attack, making it a pretty fearsome breaker with the poison psychic type. And it gives parting shot and U-turn to pivot, access to future sight to put pressure on teams, try to make them think twice about bringing a Pokemon in. With the base 106 speed tier, I have a 130 with Jolteon, a 120 with Meowscarada, 110 with Iron Valiant, 106 with Monkey Dory, and then it drops off to 85 with Terapagos. So I still don't have like a base 90. I don't think I do have a base 90 on this draft, but yeah. The real bread and butter with Monkey Dory comes with its abilities Toxic Chain. Toxic Chain, I think it has a chance to poison after any attack, and then Frisk to pretty much scout items whenever it comes in, because Frisk will reveal an item. People often run it with like Noivern to just scout. So, yeah, that's Monkey Dory. I don't really have much else to say about it because I've never used it before. I've never used Monkey Dory, Terapagos, Iron Valiant, Mamoswine, or Jolteon before. The others I've used in a draft league setting before, but yeah. Next up, we have Terra Crocolore. Crocolore was 2 points, which I find very, very undervalued. I think with Terra, Crocolore is like 3 or 4 points at least, but I'll take it at 2. It allowed me to get a couple more 2-point Pokemon, so I'll take it. But this thing really comes into its own with the Violite being able to be a physical or special wall, and being able to wall the hell out of Zamazenta Crowned. So I'm in like a team draft league, and I faced a Zamazenta Crowned like last week. Well, I didn't face it. My team faced a Zamazenta Crown last week, and my team had a Crocodile, and we walled the hell out of it. It did like 20 with a body press, and that was funny. But the main the main thing with Crocodile is the unaware ability, being able to pretty much negate setup sweepers. Like if they have we'll just go Zamazenta with a +1 defense. The Crocodile will not take the damage from a +1 body press. It'll take the damage from a +0 body press. So being able to negate the stat boost is super duper huge for my team. And you can see I went with Terra Grass and Terra Fairy. Terra Fairy is a very nice defensive type, and Terra Grass is to kind of check the ground types and water types that otherwise would answer Crocodile if it was just like base. So, or if it's just like its base type. So, moving on, I have my last Terra Captain being Misdreavus. I had like 4 points left at this point, and I needed a ghost type, so I got Misdreavus. I think that's the best option. You see, I went with Terra Ghost, Terra Electric, and Terra Fairy. Terra Electric is honestly just to have no weakness, and then Terra Fairy is just a nice all-around type. I really like Terra Fairy. Like, I love me some Terra Fairy. But Mischievous is pretty unimpressive. I had a fun set recommended to me by someone in my front office, being Pinky. Just like a Violet with Calm Mind with like Terra Electric or Terra Fairy. It has okay-ish stats. Honestly, it has pretty good stats for a 2-point ghost, so I'll give it that. 60 in HP, 60 in defense, and then 85 everywhere else except attack, which is a 60. But Levitate for its ability to be immune to ground types, and yeah. Against solid coverage, I think it's Thunderbolt, obviously Shadow Ball and Dazzling Gleam. I think it gets Psychic too, but yeah, it gets solid coverage and just a general nuisance. Well, can be a general nuisance, I should say. But those three are my Terra Captains. We could only have three, otherwise I would have used it on Sliggoo as well. Sliggoo is my last Pokemon. I needed a Dragon type, and it was honestly the best thing available. It's massively bulky on the special side with 113 special defense and access to a Violite. 68 HP is pretty unimpressive, but anything can be buffed with a Violite. So we have Sap Sipper for the grass immunity on its abilities, Hydration to cure statuses when it's rainy, and then Gooey to reduce speed by a stage if they make contact. In the other notes, I have underrated bulk with the Violite, and then it has access to Toxic, which can pretty much aid Vaporeon in stalling out things. Same with Corviknight, and just like stalling out things, especially in like a War of Attrition type game where I have to face like a Screamtail or something. But yeah, that's the team. That's pretty anticlimactic, but it is like super duper dark out here. I started this when it was sunset, and I think the cats have kind of called it off, but yeah, I am like super duper excited for this draft league, and I'm recording this on Thursday night. So come time on Sunday, my week one game is going to be Sunday. We're taking on Coach Zeph of the Ammonford Colossals, and I'm gonna be real, I cannot wait to use this team. Like, I absolutely can't wait to use this team. This team is probably one of my, like, I initially didn't like it at first, but the more I look at it, the more I love it. Especially the Mamoswine, Vaporeon, Terapagos, Corviknight, well, backbone for defense. I really, really love that. Jolteon's a super nice Terra Captain, same with Crocodile. Mischievous, I think, could be underrated, but Jolteon, Crocodile are going to get a lot of the reps at Terra Captain. And, yeah, but I guess I will catch you all whenever the week one game happens. I'm going to get out of here and just watch this back and head back inside where it's warm. Granted, it's not too bad cold out here, but it has been like 30 degrees. So, yeah, I'm going to hop off this recording and I will catch you all whenever week one happens. So, peace.